Yeah, motherfucking trucking down.
Welcome to the Seize the World podcast. I am your host, Sam Seas, and I got my man Trucking Don. What's good, my brother?
What's good, bro?
So, what this episode is about, we want to talk about trucking for people who's first starting to get off the CDLs, is right? That's your classification?
Yep, yeah, CDL, yep.
Right, so, Don, what made you get into trucking?
Man, to be honest, what made me get into trucking, I got fired, bro. Like, I had a real good job, man. Yeah, I had a real good job. I was making real good money, but they was working the crap out of me. So I didn't technically get fired. They gave me a promotion where I had to go to another state, and I moved all the way to the state. But little did I know, when I moved there, like, I ended up getting a completely different supervisor. I was a supervisor over the warehouse team, but my supervisor, he didn't like the fact that, I was young and black. I don't know what it was. He had that issue. I only say that, I'm not even the type of person to throw the race card out there, but he was from Brighton, Michigan. If anybody know where Brighton, Michigan is, it's the home of the KKK. They got a population of black people of 0.01%. When I was there, man, I was in the Walmart. I ain't see no black. I went to go eat. Somebody told me, "Yo, don't eat here." I said, "Why not?" He said, "They're gonna spit in your food." I'm just telling you. I said, "Damn." So I went to Walmart. I seen one black person. We both stopped in the aisle and was looking at each other like, "What the hell?" Like, it was just rare to see that. So when I moved out there, the dude off the rip, he ain't like me. You know what I mean? He ain't like the fact that I was in a position that I was in, and I was making that type of money. So my supervisor made my job super hard. He did everything in his power to try to burn me out. Like, he'd make me come in at 7. I won't leave till 11. No, it was weeks. I would go to work 7 o'clock in the morning, get off 2 o'clock in the morning, had to go get a nap in my car and do it again. Like, it got so bad that I ended up developing stomach ulcers from the stress. And they sent me to one of their doctors, and the doctor put me on FMLA. But mind you, I just moved to another state. Me and my entire family, all our belongings, we had to pay for that out of pocket. The company ain't pay for that. So, I was out of work 4 months, and my money was running low. So, somebody slid a trucking school pamphlet under the door. And while I was on FMLA, I took my ass to school, and that's how I ended up here.
So it's all meant to be what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was tough. And the last position you talked about, you said you was dealing with a racist coworker. Did he outwardly come out to you, or you just? I
don't know if he was racist. I'm just looking at the demographic background. And
so you just felt prejudiced by him.
Trying to find the reason he ain't like me for no reason. Right. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. Shit, man. Yeah, that's tough. When you're in a job and you're moving up, fighting for position, it's always tough when you're dealing with people, especially people who've been there for a long time. And when they see anybody who come in there doing a better job than they have been doing, and you moving up the way you move up, it makes it easy for them to want to sabotage what you're doing. So either way you look at it, it seems like, this was for the best. Yeah. It seems like you're doing better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Let me ask you, what was the process like when you first started going through this whole thing? I know you said you got the pamphlet. Somebody slipped the pamphlet under your door or whatnot. What was the process going through, like, when you first started? Like, what was the schooling like? Was it hard? Was learning how to drive a truck hard and stuff like that when you first got into it?
Man, actually, I've always been a great driver. Like, everybody know I was already into the cars. So when I jumped in the truck, it was like natural to me, you know what I mean? So, and I don't know why. So it just caught on. I did see other people struggling while I was there, but for me, I don't know. It was I got in. Of course, it was scary looking at the size of this thing. You get you first walk up to it for the first time, you're like, man, I'm really about to be driving this down the road with, around family vans and kids in the car going to Disney. You know what I mean? I don't want to make a mistake, and you know what I mean. You can kill somebody with this thing. So, it's 80,000 pounds, rolling down the street, 70 feet long. So, you know what I mean. It's a lot of responsibility in your hands behind the wheel of this. So, it was intimidating, but I don't know. Driving it was natural, man.
Was it hard for everyone? Like, was it like a last man standing type situation, or did everybody make it through?
So the school I went to, they guaranteed that you pass, no matter how long it take. They gonna guarantee. Nobody gets. The only people that got let go out of the school I went to, they got let go because they wasn't trying or they wasn't showing up. That's the only reason. As long as you showed up and you was trying, they didn't care if it took you a year. Like, you'll get your CDL. So,
in your opinion, bro, why? I seen this on the news the other day. Why is there such a shortage in truck drivers? Why does it seem like nobody's out trying to get their CDLs anymore? What's that about?
Don't let them. That's a lie.
Yeah, that's a myth.
If it was a shortage of truck drivers, they pay us better. You know what I mean? They pay the ones they got better.
I hope so, right?
It's not a shortage. I think that's a tactic to get. It's the schools pushing out that tactic that it's a shortage. So it's selling a dream to people who looking for an opportunity that, hey, if you come to this trucking school, man, it's a shortage, man. You guaranteed to have job placement. You're gonna make great money. And then people go through this trucking school and you pay them that $6K to $10K or whatever it is, or you apply for the grant and the government pay them. That's automatic money for them. Then they send you on your way. After that, it's up to you to figure out where you're gonna go work at. But that's a tactic from the schools pushing that it's a shortage of drivers. You don't see none of these companies having a problem finding drivers. They out here.
So the schools don't place you with anybody, or they don't try to like help you get a job?
Some of them will place you. And if they do place you, the job that you're going to, they about to pimp you. So just know you're gonna be working for less than what you should be making as a truck driver. But that's typical in your first year of driving a truck. You're gonna be getting basically pimped. You're gonna be driving this truck for $600-700 a week. And that's on an average. Sometimes it's lower. Sometimes it can be a little higher. It all depends on who you signed a contract with. But yeah, it definitely can be. It can go either way. But yeah, you're not gonna be making what a driver would once you get your experience would be making.
Yeah. So that falls in line to my next question. What was the sacrifices that you had to make when you first started out with this trucking business?
Man, and you sacrifice pretty much your family, man. You sacrifice your friends, time, because you're on the road by yourself. And long, sometimes weeks, months at a time, and it's just you, and you trusting your kids gonna behave in school. You trusting your girl gonna be loyal. You trusting your homie ain't gonna bite back. It's a lot of stuff you trusting is going through your head, and you just out here by yourself. You know what I mean? And you never know what you're gonna run into when you get back. So, you might be going out here thinking you trying to save your family financially and end up ruining it because of the loneliness I guess you leave behind.
Right. Shit, man. Is the scheduling good with trucking? How you feel about the scheduling?
Ain't no schedule.
No schedule. Do you not?
It's whatever time that customer say come pick up this load and what time the receiver wants you to drop it off. That's your schedule. So it could,
So it was like Uber.
Yeah, basically.
Like Uber.
Look, let me show you what's going on. So right now, we all waiting. We've been here. All these trucks that you see out here, we've been here for maybe, I've been here since this morning. But the place
How
I'm
many
delivering
trucks is
to,
that you think? How many trucks you think is out there?
it's at least, and there's some parked on the side of me on both sides, so it's at least a good 20 to 25 of us.
Ooh.
But it's gonna be more. It's gonna be more tonight. Like when it start getting dark, this whole parking lot gonna be packed with trucks waiting to deliver to this place. But you know, this is what trucking is like. I picked up this morning. I got here around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and my delivery ain't till 5 in the morning tomorrow morning. But I got it. They won't take it, so I gotta sit here with it until tomorrow.
Right. Do you have a bathroom in there? How do you use the bathroom?
You wanna know?
Yeah.
So you know, you got number one. You know, the side of the road is always a good place. You know,
Okay.
back of the truck somewhere. You know, outside somewhere. But
Right.
you know, if push come to shove, you somewhere where it's not a bathroom. You know, a truck stop or a rest area, and you like somewhere how I am now. You know, water bottles. You know, you throw them away in the trash when you can, and you know, you got the emergency. You know,
Right.
I got that. I'll put it out there. A lot of people don't know about this. Some truckers, experienced truckers, gonna know about this. But you got your emergency, good old handy dandy porta potty. You got your bag. You're
That's
ready.
smart.
Yeah, and
That's
that's just
smart.
it. You know. There's been times I'm driving, stomach start bubbling, and I'm looking for a bathroom to close the bathroom 80 miles away. I'm in the desert somewhere, so it's like,
Right.
you know, what I'm gonna do is no bathroom. So this year emergency, just in case.
How do you feel about the autonomous trucks?
I know some people who work for the companies that are trying to start up these autonomous trucks, and the people I know told me, bro, that it's not gonna happen. Like
Right.
on the highway, yeah, they can drive a straight line down the highway. You know, that's easy. They can memorize the route, but you know, construction roads change all the time. That's a big factor. When you get off at an exit, now you got cars, you got curbs, they got to maneuver. Sometimes some things just take human instinct to know. You know, you might.
Right.
Sometimes I got to make a right turn. This truck is way too long, and I got to kind of jump in the other lane where cars is and kind of push them out the way a little bit because I have to do it to make that turn. But
Right.
like a truck ain't gonna know that. It just know I need to make a right turn. It's not gonna know I don't have enough room to make that turn because it can't see beyond what we can see, and then
Yeah.
you know, it's not gonna know I need to move over. All it's thinking is I need to stay in my lane. So it's certain things that just it take human, you know, factors to judge.
Yeah. Are they any out actually on the road? Like, is there any of those type of trucks like actually out there?
Yeah, so they're only legal on the road in California and Texas right now that I know of, and I think Arizona. So those are only 3 states that passed it. So I see them all the time now that, you know, I live in Texas. We see them on the highway.
How far do they go?
They only run from like Texas to Ohio. So I mean, my fault, not Ohio, Texas. I mean, Dallas to Houston, stuff like that. San Antonio. They kind of stay in the area. They might go to Cali, but it still takes a human to put gas in it. A truck can't fuel itself up. So.
Right. Oh, well, they're electric, right? Shit.
Nah.
They're not
The
electric.
electric truck can't pull. It can pull this, but you got to think how much power you gonna need to pull this. I don't know how damn Nat got in here, but you got to think how much power. So here's a true story. They actually tried this, and they tried it with a couple electric trucks. I think it was in Ohio. It was either Ohio or Illinois, and they end up having to shut it down after 3 days because the electric trucks was drawing so much energy when they were charging that night. It was cutting the power out to the city. So imagine when all the trucks do it. They only had 10 trucks, I think.
Right.
So I don't see it happening with electric trucks.
What is one myth about truckers that everybody talks about?
We fat. We fat. I look fat. You know?
No, you do not look like the average trucker.
The myth is we fat. You know what I mean? We dirty. You see my truck. My truck not dirty. You know what I mean? Our butt cracks hanging out. All that. Like, nah, there's none of that. You know what I mean? I don't stink and none of that. Like, it's a lot of, now, it's a couple of those out here. You see them and you smell them, but nah, majority of us is regular, you know, working people like everybody else. You know, you do the same thing, you get the same results. And, you know, I kept expecting my life to change and I was doing the same thing. It's the same thing, man. I had to, you know, try to take on something different in order if I wanted any type of change in my life. So,
man, that's a really good answer, because, you know, that's an answer that everybody needs to take for themselves, you know. Take the time out for themselves, assess themselves, and, you know, respond like that. Before we get out of here, man, what's one advice you would give to new drivers with all the experiences you have gained so far? What's one advice you would give to new drivers?
Hey, you know, this a real serious game that you getting into, and you got to understand that this job is not like any other job. You know, you make a mistake at any other job, you might get fired, you might get written up, you know, sent home, whatever the case may be. You make a mistake in this truck, you will literally kill yourself or somebody else. And either way, you're not going home. If you kill somebody in this truck, it's automatically your fault, no matter how it went down. And they taking you to prison for it, you know, vehicular manslaughter. So, you got to understand that this is a different ball game than any other career. Like, even police get to go home when they make a mistake. We see it all the time. But a truck driver, you're not going home, man. You're going to go sit in the cell somewhere. No matter how much of a rush you might be in, how much traffic cutting you off, your stress levels, they peak all day long, because every car on the road has no consideration for a truck. So you just got to be one of the most humble people, the most calm. Sometimes you got to woosah. Me, I like to play reggae in my truck, because that reggae music, you know what I mean? I ain't never seen nobody mad listening to reggae. So that's pretty much how I ride, keep myself calm and deal with, you know, the assholes we got on the road all around us.
Yeah, man. Man, that was a really good answer, man, and I appreciate that. Hey, we gotta make this a second part series.
Oh yeah.
If I can have you again, you know what I mean? Because I know there's so much more that you can offer, and I know that you're doing so much on your platform, and I'm just catching up, man. Like I'm just piggybacking off of you, man, for real.
Oh, so, the YouTube channel, man.
Yeah.
That, and you know, that honestly just blew up out of nowhere. Like, I had no thought of it even going anywhere. I was just trying to put information out there. If it landed in the right hands, then, you know, if I saved one life by just having my discussions that I have with truck drivers, then, you know, I felt like I did my job. But man, it was like after the third video, man, the channel just started going through the roof. I don't know what happened. I woke up one morning and it was 900 new subscribers. I'm like, what in the world's going on? So
because you're giving out good advice, man. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. Shit.
Yeah.
Like, let me ask you one more question about that. I'm sorry, man. I know you're busy and shit, but
you good.
When you first started your YouTube channel, did you know that you was gonna be like, did you know people was gonna want to come to you like this for information on trucking? Like, man, did you know that you had this type of like teaching power in you, bro?
So I kind of knew like I had the teaching power because I was a teacher at, you know, I taught at 2 different schools, and you know, the way they taught, for me, I wasn't feeling it myself, because these schools, they were those cash grab schools, and it was, hey, we don't want them to learn, we want them to know just enough to pass the test. They can learn how to drive when they get on the road, which that's backwards to me. You know, I wanted the driver to know enough that he could safely get a truck down the road, not not just pass the test. And you know, I noticed even in the schools, a lot of the students gravitated towards me because they wanted that information. So I ended up quitting and going back on the road, you know, because for one, that it wasn't for me the way they was teaching, and two, you know, the money wasn't enough. If you want me to be hush hush, you know, you gotta make sure my pockets is large. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for no amount of money in the world. But it really wasn't even my idea to do the YouTube thing. It was kind of like my wife and, you know, one of my homies who's doing YouTube also, and he was telling me about YouTube. He never really told me to do YouTube, but he was just telling me about his, and I heard his excitement. Then my wife was telling me I need to find a new way to teach and like try to start my own school. And, you know, I don't got that type of cash flow to just go buy a bunch of trucks and start up a school. So, you know, YouTube was the next best answer I had to, like, let me try to help some of the new drivers get in the industry.
Yeah.
And that's how that happened. But I didn't expect, you know, it to do the numbers that it started doing. But, you know, I'm glad. I'm happy to help, man. Drivers are finding me all over the place. They found my Instagram, Facebook.
You're a professor now.
Facebook. Kinda, I guess so. I guess so,
right.
Man.
That's right.
But yeah, man, I just, you know, as many drivers as I can, man. I'm happy to help, man. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I appreciate you helping me out on this.
Hey, that's no problem. And I told you from the rip, man, you said you was gonna have some questions for me. You wanted to send them over. I said, no way, don't send the questions, man. I want raw footage, man. I want all the answers. I want it to be unexpected. I don't want to, like, you know, practice my lines or not. I just wanted some real authentic footage for you, and I just wanted to give you the real me. So, you know what I mean? The questions was good. I know part two, you about to kill me, but
yeah, I know. I was just sitting here thinking like, oh, I know the next fucking questions I'm gonna ask in this next video. Like, I got it in my head right now. I'm coming for you.
Hey, I know you. If anything, I know you. You about to set me up real good, but it's all good. We're going, you know, we're going to
set you up for success. That's what I'm doing, nigga. I'm setting you up for success. Okay. But either way, man, thank you for this video. Thank you for this knowledge, man. I'm putting this out right away because people need to hear this. People need to get to this. People need to get to you. At Trucking Don YouTube.
Well, on YouTube,
shout out your handles. Shout out your handles right now.
It's the Trucker Hood on YouTube. It's _trucking_Don. If you're looking for me on, I guess that's my handle on YouTube, but I know the page is called the Trucker Hood, and it's the Trucking Don on everything else. Instagram, Facebook, you can find me there. So
yeah, you already know. Look for Don if you need more trucking information. Yeah. Everybody, thank you for coming. We out.
Yo, out.